end of the call, I'm going to make sure that you get the entire learning. I'm going to make sure that we make up all these minutes on the back end. What I essentially did is I sent out a link to a Zoom meeting instead of a Zoom webinar. And then when we sent Alex the link to send to everyone the second go round, we ended up sending out the panelist link. So that also has its own inherent cap on it. And then we still couldn't get everyone into the meeting in the right way. So we had to send out the link again. It looks like the promising thing is that we have 164 participants. We do have an email out there with the correct link in it. All of you have been so gracious while we got this worked out. This is a first time for me, and I've been doing this for years. So, well, I guess I've been doing the Zoom version of this for about 18 months, but boy, oh boy, I've never run into this before. And I just want to, I messed it up, but good today. So let me take full accountability. I'm so sorry, Alex, Crystal, I'm so sorry for the stress, and everybody who was just so charming, so helpful, so reasonable, so participatory as we got this worked out. Thank you for jumping in and being family and just being a team and being so gracious. So let's get this thing going. Alex, for some reason, there's still a little confusion with the naming. So it's hard for me to know how to enable your camera. So let's just have you speak to the team. Everyone can hear you now, and then we'll just move forward with this if that's cool with you. And I'll make sure that you just get the full time and full value. And you and I, Alex, will talk later about what we can do, better next time. So is that cool with you, Alex?
That is great. It's probably just as well that the camera's not on right now. So, oh my God, what a stressful morning.
I'm so sorry. Alex was already telling me, hey, it's been stressful because I almost ran out of gas on the way to work and I was time crunched. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll see your gas incident and I'll raise you a Zoom catastrophe. So my apologies. Poor Alex is going to need somebody get that man a chamomile tea when this is all over. Let me turn over the floor to you, Alpesh and Chuck, and so many people are being so sweet. Let's make good out of this situation. It's life, things happen, and we'll move forward. So Alex, let me give you the floor and you can make some introductory comments as well.
Thanks, Emery.
Thank you.
So we had just over 200 people registered, so we're hopeful that they'll figure out that there's another link out there. And sorry for all the confusion.
Yes.
Today we've got most of Meadowtowne here. We also have some colleagues from across country who have been invited to join us, which was wonderful. We're here today because we think there's an opportunity in the marketplace. And I think there's an opportunity in a fast market where there's a lot of people, consumers particularly, that are frustrated with the process and ultimately with us. And having the Ritz-Carlton Leadership Center and Anne-Marie in, I hope that we can all move our focus a little towards a better consumer experience. That's really what our goal is to do here, and help our clients see the service gap between us and a lot of our competition. So with that, Anne-Marie, you've got the floor. Welcome everybody, and I hope you enjoyed the session.
Thank you so much. And Alex, just know that we'll, at the Ritz-Carlton Leadership Center, we'll make good on all of this for you. I know you had high hopes for a really nice, smooth event, and that's the way we usually roll. I want to thank you for your forbearance, and I'm just really sorry that we got off to a little bit of a rocky start, but let's have some fun. It's life, and honestly, in your beautiful country of Canada, and right here in Phoenix, Arizona, in the United States here, even on our worst day, we're really lucky and really blessed. There's a lot to be grateful for. And for those of you, if you're out there and you're well enough to be here, we've together come through, still working through, but coming through a pandemic and a lot of global crises. But here we are. We're in an incredible business with a bull market for real estate. So just a moment of centering and gratitude, and we'll reconnect. I see that there is someone who said that they were having a little audio issue, I would just suggest, team, if there's just one person here, go ahead and log out and log back in, and make sure that when you do, that your computer setting is set to your microphone. Sometimes people have like Bluetooth, or their sound from their machine is going into a headset that they use. So go ahead and log out and log back in. Everyone else of the 168 participants seems to be able to hear me. So it might be just a little something with your bandwidth or the way your sound setting is. So go ahead and log out and come back in. You'll be able to flow right back into the room. But yes, team, hello, Canada. Anne-Marie Falvey here, joining you from a balmy, actually, Phoenix, Arizona today. I guess our winter means partly cloudy about every 15 days, so we'll take it. It's a little bit of a mellow day here. Alex told me there's actually snow on the ground as he commuted to work this morning. So whether you're joining me from Meadowtowne, Mississauga, Milton, Georgetown, Acton, or Erin, I just want to say nice to see you, neighbors, and thank you so much for being here. I am a world traveler myself, and boy, I just want to tell you from the bottom of my heart that Canada holds a lot of special memories for me. We love our northern neighbors here, so thank you for being up there and being a great friend to this country. I also wanted to tell you, you are with the brokerage of the year, and we are talking about real estate after all, that my own dear father, an Irish immigrant, he came to this country in the 1960s. He started out in finished carpentry in New York, but his pathway after coming to Arizona with us in 1981 led him into real estate. And he did that with a company down here called Realty Executives for about 3 decades. And he was very popular. And, my dad is like kind of a down to brass tacks type guy. And he just had a lot of integrity around the way that he sold houses to people. He really was thoughtful about their pre-approvals. He was really sensitive not to get people into situations that they couldn't afford. He really cared a lot about like who built the homes and the quality of the homes, and, whether the neighborhood was really on an uptick, whether the school system was going to be a really good fit and vibe for the children. And so I watched that. And I think there were times that like people got attached to homes in areas that he could have probably made a pretty penny. But instead, he really said to them, you know what, I'm looking ahead for your best interest, and I just don't love this builder, or I don't love what's happening in this neighborhood, and I would recommend against it. Or, boy, you didn't get that pre-approval, and I'm not going to recommend, this house for you because I think that, you could go upside down in this thing. And I saw him lose sales because of that, but I really loved that he was going to take everything that he could in his character to make sure that he protected those buyers, protected those sellers for the best way in perpetuity. So this industry is near and dear to my heart. I think it's very, very special. And I think you have a way to affect people's safety and security and memories in a very, very special way. So I honor the profession that you're in. And beyond that, let me just speak for a moment about how proud you should be to be with the brokerage of the year. I read your entire marketing packet related to your, your application for brokerage of the year. I am impressed as hell. I love the ethos of this brand. It feels to me like family. And we're going to talk about the culture of your organization. I also love that you participate in the Shelter Foundation, and over the past years have generated over $30 million for people in need through the Shelter Foundation. Being aligned with an organization, yes, I see that some people are giving some claps and such in the chat. Being aligned with an organization that is values driven is an amazing, amazing place to be. It's not just about the almighty dollar. It's about bringing society up. So I'm just super, super impressed with you. I also know in speaking to Alex that your team at the brokerage has gone a great distance to make sure that they're driving value for the salespeople, for the agents over these last years, especially as things have shifted so much. He talked about, for those of you who are on the sales side of this, the agents, he talked about how capable you've become at doing a lot of your own like digital document work and contracting and uploading and all of that. And so the nature of those of you who are on the call, the sacred duty of those of you who work at the branches and support your incredible agents has really shifted. And now you're really playing a role as creatives and marketing support, you know, offer writing, all of that. So way to be. I love an innovative firm who's like, you know what, we're lightweight, we're shifting with the times, we're creating value for our agents everywhere that we can. So I wanted to call out that innovation and just say, way to keep growing. Absolutely love that. I'm looking down because I made myself a few notes that I didn't want to forget to mention. I also love the mantra that you've been operating under for the last couple of years. Alex told me you have this elevate, grow, refine mantra. And essentially what that means is you elevate the way that you're doing things every time you can. And anytime that you elevate a process, it's going to come with a little bit of growing pains. You know, you've got that growth piece in there, an adjustment has to be made. It'll open up a little bit of room for conversation, a little bit of room for misconnections, but then you refine. So you always want to bring yourself up. You want to take that growth moment, even the growing pains, and then you want to refine that process and then, you know, do it again, go back to the elevate. So through it, let's pull that thinking and that mantra through what we're doing today here as well. So let me tell you a little bit about my organization. The Ritz-Carlton hotel company itself is known, team, around the world for a few things. Number one, we're known for a very powerful internal culture. So the way that we take care of our employees is known worldwide. We empower our people, right? So every single person, even the entry-level front desk agent on their very first day is empowered at a Ritz-Carlton to the same tune as the general manager of any of our resort properties. So that's a powerful place to be. They can make major decisions on how they do business. They can make major decisions about how they manage a guest, whether they, you know, give something complimentary, whether they make a wow moment happen, whether they spend company money to make something magical happen. That empowerment is crucial. We also spend a lot of time to make sure that our pay is competitive. We also always engage our ladies and gentlemen in the planning of the work that affects them so that they feel really bought into what we're doing and they're real stakeholders in that. The other thing that the Ritz-Carlton is known for is an incredible customer experience. We call it a guest experience. You call it a buyer or seller experience. And we are known for that. And today, what we're here to talk about is how do we take normal customer service and push that up into customer experience. So, you know, I want you to know that in 2020, market research shows that customer experience overtook price and product quality as the number one factor of why people do business with an organization. Let me say that again. In 2020, customer experience overtook price and even product quality in the reason that people are driven to do business with an organization. So Alex is right. The call to action here is this is the time that we need to focus on the experience that we're giving to people. So as we do that, let's, at Royal LePage Meadowtowne Realty, let's talk about all the ways that we can engage your service. Our agenda for the day is that we're going to be together for these next couple of hours. I'm going to keep my eye on the clock over there to make sure I give you the extra minutes. And I would like you to engage with me in a couple of ways. You've already started in the chat with me. We're going to keep that up. And then you also have been sent a learning journal. This is a couple pages of paperwork that is just a structured way for you to take notes. Now, I want you to know that you could maybe have printed that out and you can be writing right into it with a ballpoint pen, or alternatively, you could just pull it up on a second monitor if you have that, and you can type right into that document as well. Why is it important to take notes? Because, gosh, everybody can be in the moment for a great couple of hours, and maybe for the rest of the day, you're like, that was pretty inspiring. I learned some stuff. I shared some best practices. But you know what? by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, when you have a full email inbox, the lessons of today can sort of drift away. And what I want to make sure that you have is a written out remembrance of some of your favorite concepts from today. I want you to energize those with your individual teams. And you can do that over the course of the next days, weeks, months, and even years if you've got those captured on paper. So please do engage with your learning journal. The last thing I'll mention here that my legal team asks me to is just please don't record this session in any way. Please don't photograph or screen grab the slides. I know it sounds a little, uptight for us to mention it, but it is funny. We didn't used to have that kind of warning on our slides, and our legal team added it after we found one of our entire presentations selling on eBay for $800. So he thought that was pretty funny. All right, so the things we're going to talk about today are the following. We're going to talk about how do we emotionally engage with our customers. We're going to talk about the key engagement principles that are powerful for helping us to emotionally engage. We're going to talk about how do we add value to people's experience by optimizing every interaction. A lot of Ritz-Carlton methodology here. The next thing we're going to talk about is a written service strategy. You may not have one at your organization, so I want you to steal ours. It is bulletproof. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is delivering a legendary experience. So what I would like to do as we get started here is I'd like to start with a little bit of a video. And I'm going to go over and make sure, yes, I'm sharing my sound. I'll take myself off camera for a minute while you enjoy this video. And when you come on back to me, I'm going to ask you to chat me your impressions of the story that you're hearing. All right, a lot of today we're going to talk about examples and scenarios from your brokerage and your engagement with your customer, whether your customer is the salesperson or whether your customer is the home buyer or seller. But right now, and sometimes throughout our lesson today, I'm going to share a few Ritz-Carlton yarns, and here's one now. All right, everybody, enjoy the story about Charlie the bear.
A family returned home from their beach vacation only to discover their son's most beloved stuffed animal, Charlie, had been left behind. Thinking quickly, the father told his son maybe Charlie was having too much fun to leave, and then frantically called the hotel. Luckily, Charlie was found tucked away with the laundry. Inspired by the father's story, the ladies and gentlemen took the extra step of creating a wonderful storybook filled with the adventures of Charlie's extended time at the hotel. A few days later, when Charlie arrived in the mail, the little boy loved the photos of his best friend lounging by the pool, enjoying the spa, and making new friends all around the hotel. The family was overcome with gratitude, and as the boy hugged his best friend tightly, they all shared a moment that will stay with them forever.
Okay, so I'm coming on back to you. It'll take just a moment for my camera to adjust there. Very good. All right, everybody, what I'd like to know from you, come on over to the chat with me and tell me some things that stood out to you from this story. What elevated the experience of this story? What impressed you from this story? Now, most of you have found the chat, but one more time, in case you're just joining us, the way that you chat with us is scroll your cursor down your screen until a virtual Zoom toolbar emerges. On that toolbar, there'll be a series of little icons, and one of them says chat. You're going to click on that. Then a white chat box will pop up in front of you. And I just want to make sure that right above where you're going to type, you'll see a little drop down. Make sure the drop down is set to everyone in meeting. And that way, all of your great insights and your feedback will be seen and shared by everybody. All right, so I'm getting a ton of great responses so far. So let me go through a lot of these. Oh, people are just saying priceless, caring, kind-hearted, thinking outside the box, funny, going the extra level of caring. What a memory from that trip, the tale that will be shared with friends and family. You better believe it. So heartwarming, thoughtful, customer service above and beyond, beautiful, giving consideration for how the child felt about the lost bear and the father's story to ease the child's sadness, better believe it. The production quality, delivering the unexpected, connection, creative, respectful, next level, going above and beyond. Oh my gosh, so many. Not only do the memories were they repeated, but it showed the bear had a good time as well. Surprise, delight, absolutely. Now, in each of these scenarios, when you chat me, I want you to know, keep up the chatting. I am going to read a ton of chats, but because there's 180 of us on the call now, I won't be able to read every single chat answer every single time, but keep them coming because you all have the opportunity to read each other's all the way through. So you are 100% correct. When we talk about elevated customer service, you know, let's think about the two pathways that this customer service experience could have gone down. A phone rings at a Ritz-Carlton. And it's a phone ringing in a security office, which is in what we call the heart of house at a Ritz-Carlton. So a security officer, who in a lot of businesses, that would be thought of as kind of a very dry support role, very rules bound, not very creative, right? We don't think of security as frontline hospitality. But at a Ritz-Carlton, it is frontline hospitality. Every single lady and gentleman who works in the house is elevating their service. So here we are, a phone rings, it's in the heart of house, a security officer picks it up. Here's a father, panicked, saying, my son is inconsolable. He left his stuffed animal there. I told him the stuffed animal had to stay behind, but please, I need you to find this thing and get it back to us right away. So two paths emerge. The customer service, you know, standard path, and then the Ritz-Carlton service experience path. The one path is, yeah, let's call laundry, let's call housekeeping. Hey, we have a stuffed animal lost. Did anyone find it? Oh, laundry found it wrapped up in towels. Great. Get it back to me at security. I'm going to put it in a FedEx box and I'm going to send it to the house. It'll arrive at the door tomorrow. The second path that emerges is, what are the golden nuggets that I can pick up that can help me to personalize this experience for this father, for this family? What can I do that shows my genuine care, my love? What helps me build a lifelong relationship with this family rather than just a customer service moment, right? So then you have a security officer who's like, yeah, it's going to take me a little bit of communication and a little bit of time, but I'm going to take this stuffed animal that we found, walk around the property and cooperate with different teams and make sure that I do something really creative. And by that method, that security officer really demonstrated his commitment to customer experience and also got an opportunity to work across channels, created a creative experience, a wow moment that all of the people who work for us could enjoy, as well as that family. And guess what? The next day on the same time schedule, a FedEx box arrives, a family opens it, but now it has the stuffed animal wrapped in a Ritz-Carlton blanket, holding onto a photo album that has photos from the experience and a handwritten card that says, we can't wait to have you back again. Thanks so much for letting your friend stay with us. He did work a few security shifts for us, but we did let him have a wonderful time at the spa and meet some friends as well. So now, what do we get for that? Well, we have this simple business model at Ritz-Carlton, and here's what it is. We believe that if we have engaged employees, they are going to engage the hearts and minds of the guests that we have, or the customers, your buyers and sellers, right? And once you have engaged customers, they are going to drive revenue back to the bottom line. So here we had an engaged security officer. He drove value and he engaged that family. And guess what? That family comes back to us every single year and stays at that Ritz-Carlton because of the way that they were treated. And not only that, our security officer never could have known this when he was doing what he did, but that gentleman, the father who he interacted with, happened to be a blogger at the time, and he blasted out onto the internet photographs from the photo album that he was sent. And this story has been like the gift that keeps on giving for the Ritz-Carlton. He went viral. Everybody knows about it. Everybody loves it. And see what that did? It increased our mystique. It brought more business to us. And boy, we want that business. We're a business. We make $4 billion a year. We don't apologize for that. We want that money. But we do it by taking care of our people, They take care of our guests, and then we drive value back to the bottom line. I see that chats are continuing to come through. Oh, good. Lindsay's like, how many kids have now left their bears behind? That's such a good question. I love it. I thought what you might like to do is see the actual stuffed animal that was left behind. You know what happens when a marketing team gets a hold of something? They found like a photogenic bear and they called him Charlie. The actual stuffed animal was a little terry cloth giraffe called Joshy the giraffe. And these are the actual photographs that the ladies and gentlemen of the Ritz-Carlton took. Here he is sunbathing. Here he is with the cucumbers on the eyes. He's meeting some of the friends of Amelia Island over here, meeting some furry friends in the retail area, working a shift for us. So that's Joshy the giraffe. So let's move on from that team. Now, what kind of environment makes somebody like that security officer go above and beyond? Well, an organization like mine and like yours that has a culture that says, hey, we have a mission. Our mission statement at the Ritz-Carlton, genuine care and comfort. A motto, 3 steps of service, which is a service protocol, an employee promise, which, you know, basically almost like your elevate, grow, refine, just guarantees to our associates that we're going to keep growing their skill set. And then a set of service values that help us to have the behaviors of extraordinary service. Now, you might be saying to yourself, what are some of our cultural elements at Royal LePage, Meadowtowne Realty? So what I'd like you to do is, can you jump in the chat with me and tell me, what is your culture at Royal LePage Meadowtowne Realty, or Royal LePage, the Canada's real estate, favorite real estate agency? What is the culture? What are any mottos, slogans? What are you known for? Scott right away is saying we are trusted. I love that. What else do we have? What are some other cultural attributes? Caring and sharing. Good. Love that, Duncan. We're known for being helpful. Yes. Teamwork. Helping you is what we do. Helping people first. We are respected. Yes. Helping you is what we do is the motto. We have integrity. We are the go-to for knowledge. Family-oriented, professional, leaders, trustworthy. A family of professionals who collaborate. We are relational. I absolutely love it. Now, I can imagine that when you look across at the competition, that there are other competition who try to like elbow you in this space, but you got to ask yourself, are they relational? Are they family oriented? Are they the kind of size that feels personal? Are they supported the way that we as agents, as salespeople are supported by our branches here? Do we have the kind of volume of business that we can personalize even better than they do? We're less bureaucratic than they are. People don't feel like a number here. I think that you are perfectly positioned at a very humane and caring, and very proud organization. And I went ahead and researched your cultural elements too. And just like you said, you have this incredible motto of helping you is what we do. Oh, someone else is also saying, Sean saying we have great leadership and we have a great reputation. So wonderful. So helping you is what we do. Now, how do we make good on that? We make good on that by elevating every moment of service. So start with me here. I want you to get into the chat with me and tell me, what is the difference between a satisfied customer and an engaged customer? How would you describe that difference? I keep saying engage your customers, engage your employees. What do I mean by that? What's the difference between I'm satisfied and I'm engaged? All right, I'm going to go over to the chat and hear what you're saying here. Loyalty. Good, Joseph. What else? What is the difference between a customer saying to you, oh, you're on it. Okay, Melissa's saying engaged will be a repeat customer. That person has loyalty, has trust. Yes. Rich said satisfied meets expectations, but engaged means referrals. You better believe it. Deanna, clients are loyal and they refer. Yes. Carolyn, engaged clients are your best advocates. Yes. Andrea, emotionally connected. Yes. Duncan, complete trust. Yes. Lindsay, satisfied is one way, engaged is a two-way relationship, 100%. Angel, clients become friends. Melody, satisfied means doing what we said we do. Engaged is doing more than they expected us to do. Woohoo! Mandy said referring friends and family. Alex said it's the difference between transaction and relationship. And these incredible answers are continuing to to pour in, I'm going to move on and just say, absolutely right. Here's how we would define an engaged customer. An engaged customer has an active relationship with a brand. They are loyal, they are advocating, and they are also providing feedback. So this is a really important moment. Let me pause here. Engaged customers, they are having a relationship with you, right? I want you to think of it almost like, what do humans do when they get engaged? When they put a ring on it, per se. They say, you know what, I've dated other people, but when it comes down to it, I want to live my life with you, right? I trust you the most. I'm the most attracted to you. I feel most comforted when I'm in your company. You have qualities that I admire. You know, I trust you. And for that, I'm going to advocate for you, right? I'm putting a ring on it. I want to marry you. I'm going to put photos of us out on my Instagram page. I'm going to talk you up to my friends and family and tell them how great you are. But also, I'm going to provide you feedback because I want this relationship to work. And if you hurt my feelings, I'm going to tell you that too. If you fall short of what we agreed and we promised to each other, I'm going to tell you that too. If I'm frustrated with you, I'm going to tell you that too. And so you got to think of it like a human relationship. Sometimes people think like, ooh, engaged customers, they're loyal and they're advocating and they're referring me, but oh, now they got really entitled and they gave me some pretty, harsh feedback. Embrace it. We get the ladies and gentlemen at the Ritz-Carlton to say that's a relationship. You know what it means when someone gives you feedback? It means that they want the relationship to work. What do people do when they don't give you feedback and they're upset with you? They walk away. They're like, let me go to Remax, right? But if they are giving you feedback, even if it's tough for you to hear in the moment, you embrace that. Don't take that personally. Grow from that, because that means they want your relationship to work long term. And that is part of engagement. So we have our ladies and gentlemen stay out of defensiveness. We don't say anything disparaging about our guests. There's none of that talk like they're so entitled or they're so whatever, like, oh, life must be rough. You're staying at a 5-star hotel, that's $900 a night. None of that. Everything is, I can grow from this moment. So that's a really great place, because I know that things get frustrating, and especially in a market where, gosh, people are probably making offers on houses all the time. They're not getting their offers taken up because there's so much competition. There are multiples on every sale. So it's really, really important that you've established that baseline of trust, that as people get a little bit anxious, that you're mitigating that when they're giving you tough feedback, like, hey, we can't get any offers through. Maybe I need to go to a different agent, that you're able to go, I'm not going to be defensive. I'm really going to treat the fear at the heart of that. I'm going to really invest in this relationship. So having said what engagement is, let's talk about what makes a memorable customer experience. And I have a little bit of a pyramid here that I want to share with you. Our research shows us something. Do you know that if you have a customer and you do everything that they expected, that's fabulous. It's good. I don't want you to poo-poo meeting expectations, because with a brand like yours, people come to you for quality. They trust you, and they have high expectations. If you meet all of those, great job. But I want you to know that that's not a memorable experience for them, right? They could come in the door of a Ritz-Carlton with sky-high expectations. We do everything we need to do to meet those sky-high expectations. Fantastic. But that is not a memory made. That's not an engaged customer. That's not brand differentiating service. So then the next thing is, if you have a customer, a buyer, a seller, and you've met their expectations, and then once or twice they made a special request of you and you fulfilled that special request, that's great. That's super. But that's still not a memory made. What you need to do in order to have brand differentiating service, in order to engage a customer, is you have to bring an experience to a place of delight. There has to be a kind of a wow moment on some level. It doesn't have to be a legendary wow like Joshy the giraffe that goes viral, gets 2 million clicks. It has to just be a moment where they're like, wow, that was so anticipatory. Or wow, that was so thoughtful. Or wow, you really went to a place with this that was above and beyond what we expected. So you have to delight them by exceeding with your thoughtfulness, right? So a lot of what we're about to talk about emotional connection, is going to teach us how to get to a delighted response. Creating emotional connections is at the heart of this. So Here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to create a difference for you now between the function of your job and the purpose of your job. We do this with the people that work for us at Ritz-Carlton starting on the first day that they come to work with us. What I'd like you to do is come and chat with me, and I'd like you to tell me the function of your job in chat, and then tell me what is the purpose of your job. And by this method, we're going to like really drop into our emotional connectivity. All right. So I might say, if I were going to give you an example, I might say my job is to elevate organizational cultures by delivering, inspiring keynotes, right? That's my function. But really my mission is to elevate the way that human beings feel about the work they do in the world and what their contribution is. You see the shift there? I have some functions. I give presentations, like this. My purpose is I elevate people's opinion of themselves and the contribution they make in the world. All right, so Melissa's, I'm waiting for some people's responses on their function versus their purpose. And I know it takes a minute to kind of figure this out and type that in there. So I'm looking for that because what we want to do it every day if we can, just like a meditation, is to really root down in what is the purpose of the work we do here. Chris said, okay, so my function is to help buy and sell. Yeah. And then let's see what it says here. Right, I scrolled past. Okay, so yes, Chris, you're absolutely right. Your function is to help buy and sell. So what is your purpose? Now I want Chris to write your purpose. Pinder said, my job is to buy and sell real estate on behalf of my clients. My purpose is to make the process smooth, comfortable, stress-free, with added services and resources. Create a long-lasting relationship and be in their corner for anything that has to do with real estate. Holy moly, Pinder. That could literally be a commercial definition for what we're talking about here. That was beautifully stated. Deanna said, function, helping clients with real estate needs. My purpose is the development of relationships and making connections. You better believe it. Melody, my function is to get buyers and sellers from their current homes into new homes, but my purpose is to deliver life experiences and memories for clients. Absolutely. I saw people over the decades refer people to my father. Even after he retired, people would call and be like, hey, we were sitting around riffing about maybe selling our this or our that, and your name came up. Are you still in the business? And he's like, oh my gosh, I retired 10 years ago, but thank you. That's what it means to build lifelong relationships. Andrea is saying, my function is selling homes. All right, Andrea, get back in there and tell me your purpose. Christina, my function is helping customers obtain financing to purchase. Oops. Hold on. Still okay, I'm just scrolling here. Okay, my purpose is to make it an experience where they receive advice and options and make the process smooth and stress-free with financial advice. Absolutely. Oh, Chuck is telling Pinder to stop showing off there. This team is hilarious. Fantastic. So I'm seeing so many. I'm an administrative assistant. My function is to help real estate agents buy and sell, but my purpose is relationship building and culture. Yes, I love this. Anthony is saying my purpose is to provide an unforgettable experience rather than an unforgivable experience. That's so right. This is so good, team. Pinder is saying, Chuck, you made me laugh and smile. Okay, good. This team seems really close-knit, and I love the banter between all of you. So that's what you do. Do you ever feel like your team is not operating at this elevated level? I want you to get everyone to the table, right? Get your support team at the brokerage at the table. Get anyone who's in the mix, a referring buyer or seller, together and just say, what's our purpose with this client? We got a little off track, and have everybody bring back to that purpose. When we have a new employee at a Ritz-Carlton on their first day, we do this exercise with them and we're like, well, congratulations, you have a new role with our family at the Ritz-Carlton. You are a housekeeper or room attendant. What is your purpose in that role? And you'll see people, it's a little bit of a trick question on their first day, right? Because they don't know yet. And so when they say, well, what's my purpose? To clean rooms. And we're like, that is a function of yours, and we're going to get to function during on-the-job training. But let's talk about your purpose as a room attendant. And they still might not get it. And they're like, my purpose is to keep also the public areas and the hallways clean. That's one of your functions. We're going to do that during on-the-job training. What is your purpose? And then you start to see the light go on in their eyes, and they're like, oh, my purpose is to make our visitors, our guests, feel like their room is a home away from home. Yes, that is your purpose. What else is your purpose? Well, within their home away from home is to pick up on some of their preferences, you know, how they like their room, you know, whether they need more water in their room, you know, whether they're drinking a Gatorade and maybe I can bring them some more Gatorade and leave it in the room, the way they like to recycle their towels, whatever it is, I can make it feel personal to them by using their preferences. Yes, that is your purpose. And now you have an employee who can get out of bed every morning, even if they have a strenuous job, because their job is not, I push a heavy cart down the hallway and I clean 14 guest rooms at a Ritz-Carlton. They get out of bed because they're taking care of families. They're taking care of business people who are on the road 300 days a year. They're giving people a home away from home. They're coming up with personalized, creative ways to delight people. That is the gift that gives energy. That is the gift that keeps on giving. And if you want to know what creates loyalty and drives money back to the bottom line of a Ritz-Carlton through referrals, through repeat business, it is that purpose-driven work. So creating emotional connection is so much about purpose. Let's talk for a minute about the brands that you're emotionally connected to and why. Now, I want you to look, I do have a few logos on the screen here, but you don't have to pick one of these brands as your favorite. I want you to come in the chat feature with me and tell me, what is a brand in your life that you are emotionally connected to? And tell me why you're emotionally connected to them, right? So let's say, you know, I say, oh, you know, I'm emotionally connected to Chewy's, who provides my pet food, because they really personalized the experience and they helped me to find a product for my dog when my dog was having digestive issues that really has worked. And they went above and beyond in doing that. It affected a family member of mine, and I'll love them forever. I'm always loyal to them. So I want you to tell me, come in the chat, tell me some brands that you are emotionally connected to. Okay, I love this. People are saying, okay, Chris said, oh, Melissa said Apple. Tell me why, Melissa. Starbucks, says Chris. The staff always greet me warmly and by name when I pick up my order. Name usage, we're going to talk about that. Brandon said, I used to be emotionally connected to Rogers, not so much now. What happened in your relationship with them, Brandon? Did their level of customer experience change? Very pleased with Reliance now. Okay. Saeed says, the Cheesecake Factory, tell me why. Gerson said Apple because of their quality. Great. Melissa said Apple because of their business line, customer service, their marketing, their packaging. Yes, love it. Birdhouse said Ritz crackers. Okay, and I'm hearing that loud and clear. Very good. People are saying Nike, Kellogg's, Coca-Cola has Santa commercials. Greenhawk, equestrian tack and supplies, childhood love of horses, nostalgia, memories, events. I love this. LCBO keeps me sane. Sam's Auto, they know me by my voice and they never suggest work on a car unless it's absolutely needed. So there's huge trust built with them. I love that, Melody. You are really like ding, ding, ding. Love, trust, integrity, all of those things help great emotional connection. Harry Rosen, it was a dream to shop there. Kit and Ace Clothing because of their green values. It's a Canadian company with stellar service. All right, so do you see how what connects you to brands and makes you loyal to brand? It's values driven. They're purpose driven. You trust them. They personalize the experience. They know your name. They know how you like to communicate, right? It feels niche. You feel held. You feel comforted. You don't feel like a number. You're engaged with their creativity. These are all of the things that you're using to engage your customers, whether you're from the support team at the brokerage or whether you're actually working with the buyer and sellers. So at the Ritz-Carlton, we have a very strong sense, just checking my time, we're good. What is a brand? We say that a brand is a story that's always being told. I want you to think about when you go out to research a brand, you know, whether you're gonna, travel somewhere, or whether you're going to purchase something, whether you're going on Amazon and you're looking up, Kindle Fire, covers like I was doing recently, you are reading about different brands. And we've all gotten very savvy about how we evaluate brands, right? We go into the reviews and what are we looking for? We read some of the positive reviews, but then we read some of the negative ones, and then we're looking unconsciously for trends, and we're reading the more recent reviews. Have you ever found that like you look up something on Amazon, and it has a lot of stars, but then like for the last 8 months, the reviews are not good? They used to be good. I'm not buying that product. I don't care if it has more stars than this other product. If this other product has better reviews more recently, I'm buying that product. Same thing with a Ritz-Carlton. We have, or any hotel that you would stay in. You could have a side-by-side comparison. This one has 3 stars, but it says this place is charming. It's clean. The staff is so friendly. This one has 4 stars, but when I read it, it's like this place used to be good, but the service has really fallen down. It needs renovation, right? I'm going to go with a lesser starred hotel that has a better experience and better recent reviews. So I want you to think about every time you're working with a customer, internally or externally, right? You are adding a chapter to your brand story. Every single chapter. So what are your most updated chapters? Are they recommending yourself? Are they recommending your brand? Well, let me give you some tactical ways to emotionally engage with your customer, no matter who that is. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide you with some examples of how to bring these to life at the Ritz-Carlton, how we do it, and how you can do it. But I'm going to ask you to stay with those chat fingers ready, and you're going to give me some best practices as well. And this will become a big best practice sharing moment for all of us. All right. So think about how we've built this so far. In order to create engaged customers, customers for life, loyal, referring customers, and drive that revenue back to the bottom line, you have to surprise and delight people. You surprise and delight people by being purpose-driven in your work and making an emotional connection. So how do we do that? The number one factor in creating an emotional engagement is to streamline the experience. And what this basically means is cut out the bureaucracy. How many of us have had a service experience where we were like referred, like, we're put into somebody's voicemail? I called up Verizon the other day for my cell phone and I was referred twice. So I talked to the original person. They put me through to a second department. That second department put me through to the next department. And when I talked to the third person, I'd already been on the phone for over 20 minutes holding. And that person said, oh, I can't believe they made you wait on hold for this. The first person you talked to totally could have done this. That is infuriating. Time is money. That's 20 minutes I could have spent doing something nice for my family. That's 20 minutes I could have spent exercising, praying, getting a bite to eat. But instead, I'm folding. They're wasting my time. The way that they could have emotionally engaged me is if the first person that picked up the phone said, you know what? That's a great question. I'd like to get you an accurate answer. Would you allow me to just place you on a very brief hold, and I'm going to own this moment, and I'm going to go find the accurate answer. And that person might have stepped away, might have cost me a couple minutes on hold, but they'd come back and be like, aha, so glad you asked, and now I know how to do something more as well. We can fix this easily for you. So streamline the experience, not referring the experience, escalating it to somebody else, putting someone through to voicemail, making somebody send somebody else an email. Own the moment. So yes, what I wanted to say is sometimes when we don't have confidence in what we're doing, we have a tendency to go into what we call at the Ritz-Carlton like gatekeeping mode. Have you ever met somebody in a business and you ask them a question, you're like, and they answer you like, no, I'm pretty sure we don't do that, or we can't, or won't, or don't. And you're left there as a customer like, why do I feel like maybe you do this, but you just don't know how to do it? So you're telling me that you don't do it, right? We go into gatekeeping mode when we're like, I don't know how to do that or answer that question. So no is the easiest path for me to take here. We want to alleviate that. Something that shows more integrity is, that is such a great question. Can I be honest with you? I've never had that asked of me before. I'd like to find out what my options are. If you'll allow me, to place you on a brief hold, or, I could even call you back. I'd like to find out what my options are and then come back to you. that is streamlining the experience, right? We're not gatekeeping, we're not referring, we're not making it somebody else's issue downstream. Another thing is, if somebody asks us for something, it's great to show them and to upskill them. So let's say that Chuck asks me for a document. Hey, Anne-Marie, you had that helpful document in that meeting the other day. Can you send that thing to me? What if I said to him, well, you can just go find it yourself on the Royal LePage database? That's not very helpful, right? I want to be a servant, to my colleague here. So I might do this. I might say, absolutely. When I get back to my desk, let me send that to you, and I'll go you one better. In case you need it on an ongoing basis, I'm going to also send you a link to the shared drive where you can find it and anytime you want to. So I've said, yes, let me help you. Let me show you where the resource is. I'll give you the one you want, and then I'll show you how to help yourself. So all of those are ways to own the moment and streamline the experience. The less people in the mix, the more we have this. I remember when I first joined the Ritz-Carlton organization, on my very first day, there was an absolutely pint-sized front desk agent that was on duty while I was working nearby in the lobby as a leader. And there was a high touch customer who was staying with us. He was a doctor. He had a sizable ego, and he stormed up to the front desk and he's like, I need to talk to a manager. And this little lady at the front desk, boy, she was small, but she was mighty. I remember she used to wear these big stiletto heels, and even at that, she could barely see over the top of the front desk. She said to him, Dr. Allen, my name is Marissa, and I want you to know, if you want me to get one of my leaders in the mix, I absolutely will, sir. But I am 100% empowered to own the moment for you and to provide you with any solution that my leader could, or in fact, that the GM of this property could. So if you'll trust me and tell me what we're dealing with, I would be so happy to jump in and get this remedied. So he kind of looked at her like, I don't know, you're just a front desk agent, right? And then he told her the issue. She owned that to the extent that he was so re-engaged that he came back to visit her. Like when you'd see him coming down from the elevator, he could go straight out the front door. He'd make a beeline over to the front desk and be like, hey, Marissa, how are you doing? Yeah, thanks again for that help with that thing the other day. They were thick as thieves by the time he left. She owned the moment, right? She figured out how to do what he wanted to do. She said, I can do anything my leader can. That is incredible service. All right, so streamline the experience. What are some ways that you at Royal LePage Meadowtowne, get in the chat with me and tell me what are some ways that you can take out the bureaucracy? What are some ways that you can own the moment for your buyers, your sellers, your agents, your team members, your employees, that will help you to stay emotionally connected in the moment? So people are offering some fun stuff in the chat here. As you answer my new question, let me go back and review some of your answers here. And loving this. I like what Oliver said here. I find that I'm more emotionally connected to a specific person behind the brand. A brand gives me comfort, but the person who delivers the specific service gives me the connection. I love that. And Alpesh is saying, I agree with that. A lot of people are giving Oliver attaboys for that. That's really good. Love that. Somebody, Alpesh said, LOL, all the time. It's like milking a cow to get levels of service that is there. Oh, whoops. That is there. And we know it's there, so give it to us. Yes, you're absolutely right, Alpesh. That's that moment with that gatekeeper where that person is like, no, I don't think I can do that for you. And you're like, I kind of know you can. So just go ahead and give that to me. All right, so Melissa said, we can anticipate what an agent needs. Good, loving this. And asking if they need assistance. Yeah, 100%. Just being like, what, I'd like to support you in this moment. Is there anything I can do? Yeah, good. Offering advice. Yes, offering advice and mentoring. For some of you who are agents too, some of the people who are supporting you in the brokerage, they're on track to become the next generation of agents too. Maybe they want your advice and support and mentorship. Maybe some of your buyers and sellers, they're going through a transition that's leading them to get a new place, and they want your advice. They want your advice and guidance on neighborhoods and fit and school systems. Anthony said, never tell the customer what you can't do. Tell them what you can do. That's 100% correct. And when someone asks me a challenging question and my mind goes to, oof, I don't want to tell this person no, but that would be tough to accomplish. Instead of having that come out my mouth, just saying, you know what we can do? I'm glad you asked me that. Let me provide you some options on a way forward, right? And you never have to traffic in no, can't, won't, don't, and you cut. Boom, streamline the experience, goes straight into what can happen. Not deflecting the question. Yes, Sean, you're so right. That comes from insecurity sometimes. Someone asks us a direct question. We think there's either going to be like a deficit of knowledge or some drama if we answer it directly. So we try to answer a different question. Streamline the experience. Be honest. I'm working with a home builder right now, and they were telling me, Anne-Marie, 100% of the time something's going to go wrong in the home building process, 100% of the time. But if we're transparent with our new homeowners, we save ourselves so much drama. It's only if the homeowner shows up to see the progress and we're not out ahead of this window broke or the kitchen island wasn't installed properly, then they think we lack integrity. But if we call them up and be like, hey, 99% of your job is going perfectly. I did want to let you know in case you stop by the property, we're working on correcting the kitchen island situation. A little something happened with it, but don't worry, when you get the house, it's going to be perfect. Then we have integrity. Then we have trust and honesty. We're streamlining the experience. We don't have to go through this full drama cycle with them. Good. People have such good answers here. Creating guides, says Chuck, blogs, information resources before they even have the question is an approach that's worked well for us. That's fantastic. Even a guide of frequently asked questions, even like a customer journey map of like what to expect when you're, working with us, at Royal LePage. We help buyers and sellers connect with key people. Let's see. What happens sometimes is the little scrolly bar is sensitive, so I'll scroll past your good answers. So let me see if I can get back to that good answer. Offering advice, anticipate what the client is looking for, preparing a client, creating guides and blogs. We help buyers and sellers connect with key people during the process and provide the backstory. So our clients don't need to repeat their needs to third-party people. They can just jump in and get everything done. Talk about streamlining the experience. Woo, woo, woo. This team is amazing. Acknowledging accomplishments, acknowledging milestones. All of this is great. Alex and I were talking a little bit about how to prepare your customers for the kind of market that they're entering. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes, but some of you are already referring to that. The preparatory aspect can save you a lot of questions and drama downstream. So good. So let's move on to the next one. The next way that we emotionally connect and we differentiate our service is to create defining moments. So what does this mean? Let me give you a very simple example from the Ritz-Carlton of this. Watching my time? Okay. Creating defining moments is like this. So there was a little story that I love from a property, a Ritz-Carlton, where I worked once in Marana, Tucson, Arizona, beautiful property called Dove Mountain. There was a towel attendant who was out by the pool. You know what a towel attendant does? Picks up towels that are soaking wet, brings them back so they can be washed and sanitized and re-rolled, and brings them out to make people comfortable at the pool, right? They're trafficking in towels. Again, this is a role that doesn't have a lot of glory to it. It's an entry-level role. This could be a person who's like, look, if I just keep my head down and just do towels all day, I don't have to talk to anybody. Not at a Ritz-Carlton, right? Not at Royal LePage Meadowtowne Realty either. This is a person who was highly engaged. So this person had a sense of purpose. Here's what happened. This towel attendant is out by the pool, and he overhears a mother and daughter talking while he's clearing some towels nearby. And the mother is saying, honey, we've been at the Ritz-Carlton for a couple days now. What is your favorite thing so far? And the little girl said, I like the way they put the fruit in the water. Right? Kids, right? Here they're staying at a luxury resort. The mom's probably hoping she's going to say like the recreation team, the Michelin-starred food, the pools, and here she is. She liked our fruited water displays. So the towel attendant thought that was cute and funny. He went over and cooperated with the server, and they called in-room dining. And they said, this is the name of a mother-daughter who are having a mother-daughter trip with us. This is their room number. Would you please put a fruited water station in their room right now with a couple of cups in the water? If you could put wonderful, colorful things, raspberries and kiwis and orange wedges, because they love our fruited water. So the mother and daughter came back to their room a little bit later, and there they had their own beautiful fruited water station and their cups, and they were just blown away. And they're already paying tons of money to stay at a Ritz-Carlton, but it's the little things. It's the picking up on something that could be a defining moment. So you have engaged service professionals, engaging the hearts and minds of a mother and daughter. And how did that drive revenue back to the bottom line? They come back to us all the time with their extended family, and they have more trips at that Ritz-Carlton because they love the way they were treated. Additionally, they walked downstairs, asked for the general manager, gave a compliment to the pool team, and they also went back out to the pool and gave gratuities to the towel attendant and the server. So that is generating reputation, that is generating money, that's driving value to the bottom line. So let me ask you, I want to ask you, what are some stories that you're aware of or that you've done that have created defining moments at Royal LePage Meadowtowne Realty in any of your branch locations with any of your agents as customers or any of your buyers and sellers? What are some defining moments that you've created? I want you to jump in the chat and tell me what those are, all right? And I'm gonna give you a moment. I want you to type and also be able to listen, all right? Start to think of what are some moments that could have just sailed by, but you said, record scratch, let me stop because I think I could make some magic here. I want you to tell me about those moments. And I'm going to tell you about one that Alex told me about. He said that there have been agents in the past at your, or that are currently there at your branches who, when they had clients come into the branch for a meeting, they actually like took a frame and made a welcome sign, and on the front desk, as you come into the lobby, it said like, welcome Mr. and Mrs. Davies. That is so cute. That is such a defining moment. If I showed up in an organization and I saw my name and my personal relationship reflected in the lobby, I would just, that would like make my heart swell. Here's another one. During COVID, a lot of your home sellers didn't really know what to do with themselves, it sounds like, when their houses were being shown. Like, what are they going to do, right? COVID is out there. They're going to leave the protection of their home, let other people into it, and they're going to go down and sit in a coffee shop? Not during COVID times necessarily. That's not that's not a comfortable thing. So you had an agent who rented space, sounds like, in your township, so that while people's houses were being shown, they could go over to this rented space. There was a living room set up, there was food and beverage, and they could just chill there and be protected and feel like family even when they were displaced. I think that's an amazing defining moment. So what are some of the ones that you have done or continue to do? So Alex said, replaced all the ductwork in the basement of a bungalow, which a seller removed because she didn't want the buyers to have to deal with the gremlins that she kept hearing. Oh my gosh, that's a huge one. Yeah, having a gremlin would be a defining moment, but not one for the positive, right? Okay, I love it. Sandra said, I had clients who were ill with COVID or during COVID. I made them homemade soup and delivered it to the family. Oh my God, Sandra, that is a defining moment. I overheard one of my clients talking about how he loves watching his Blue Jays games. He needed a nice recreation room. I'm almost there. Hold on. He needed a nice recreation room where he could watch the game. Upon closing, I got him a Blue Jays hat with his name embroidered on the back, and have since seen him around town, and he's always wearing the cap. He was very appreciative, and I was surprised, and I kept an ear out for his interest. He was surprised I kept an ear out for his interest. That is such an awesome story. Bravo, that's amazing. Birdhouse said I removed a permit violation. Yeah, that moves the ball forward and affects people in a quality of life way. I love that. Melody said, I helped clients move stuff from an old house to a new house. I got on my hands and knees and cleaned the floors before the photo shoot because the floor installer contractors had left a mess behind. Painted the clients' new homes after they moved in. Melody, where do you find the time? I love this, but that kind of commitment, that kind of adding value, that kind of like, this matters to me, I'm going to roll up my sleeves, I'm doing this with you. It's unbelievable. Get inspired. Chris said for my sellers, I would create a watercolor print of their home, have the address screened on it, and gave it to them as a closing gift. You're blowing my mind here. You guys are completely wonderful and awesome. And I know that I even like, Susan said when a client's basement started to leak water, they called me. I went over with my husband and a couple of friends to get all of their possessions moved out of the basement, and then called the basement contractors. I just want to hug all of you. Like, talk about engaged employees, right? Creating engaged and loyal customers. Every one of you who did that, I guarantee you, you're going to see referral business from that. Those customers are going to come back to you when they need houses bought or sold, and they are going to talk about those stories. They're going to be like, literally, my agent came over with her husband and moved my stuff out of my soggy basement. Her name is Susan Lockheed, and you've got to use her. She's the only one, right? So you are creating emotional connections and lifelong memories. You're being purpose-driven. This is unbelievable. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is creating a sense of understanding service psychology. So social psychologists tell us that the deepest driver in the human psyche is the need to feel that you belong, that you're actually seen for who you are, you're valued for who you are, and that you're accepted for who you are. And the easiest way to scar a human psyche is to make someone feel ignored or alienated, right? Or just one of many. So when we understand service psychology at a Ritz-Carlton, we're looking for every opportunity to personalize. And that starts with a couple simple things. Number one, eye contact. Alex and I were enthusing about Horst Schulze. He's one of the founding fathers of the Ritz-Carlton. And he wrote a book called Excellence Wins, among others. If you haven't read Excellence Wins and you just are someone who likes that kind of mindset of excellence, I want you to read that book, share it with your teams. At a Ritz-Carlton, sometimes we'll take a book like that and we'll actually distribute, and we'll all read a chapter. We'll give everybody a week and everyone will read a chapter. And at the end of the week, we'll all discuss it together. And so we're all growing together. That's a kind of a fun internal idea. But anyway, in his book, Excellence Wins, Horst Schulze said, when someone makes eye contact with you, that is an invitation to action. So the eyes are the window to the soul. There's a language to the eyes. And when someone is trying to get your attention, whether they are your colleague who works as a fellow, person in accounts payable, or whether they are a fellow managing broker, whether they are your buyer or your seller or another agent that's coming to an open house to show a home, connect with the eyes. Maintain that gaze. Not in a weird way, you have to blink, right? But really make that precious eye contact, because it's a way of letting people know you are valued by me. I am totally present in the moment with you. There's a language to the eyes. Did you know that all around the world in every culture, without anyone telling us how to do it, that people all do the same thing when they're angry or suspicious? You know what they do? We all squint. I want you to think about that the next time someone tells you something, you're like, that doesn't sound right. You're suspicious of it. Or if you're angry, right? Every culture does it. It's part of the language of the eyes. Did you know that all around the world in every culture, when we emotionally connect, our pupils dilate? Involuntary reflex. It's part of the language of the eyes. Body language experts tell us that when we see someone that we like, we do a momentary eye flash, which doesn't mean like a flashing strobe in the middle of the pupil, obviously, but it means like the whole eye area opens for a moment and the eyebrows go up and out. That's called an eye flash. It's the language of the eyes. Did you know that babies, newborn babies, before anyone could teach them how to do this, they have an instinct to lock eye contact with their caregiver? Because they know that if they can bond through the eyes, they're more likely to be nourished, protected, and loved. And that increases their chance of survival. So here's another one we use in hospitality all the time. If someone walks by me and they make eye contact, but I reject their eye contact, it actually it triggers a rejection response in their body. Did you know that? Literally their cortisol level will elevate, their testosterone and their serotonin will depress. In that moment, they actually feel inferior to me. We cannot have that happen. Not in our work environments, not with our customers. So eye contact is part of the psychology of service psychology. The other thing is the genuine use of names. Now, at the Ritz-Carlton, we have a brand standard that every one of our employees has to use a customer's name naturally at least twice in every conversation. A really good moment for that is the beginning and then at the end of an interaction. So, you know, how are you using name usage? Are you using it when you answer the phone? Also, if someone has a challenging name, try to pronounce that challenging name first and then ask them. Like, do them the respect of trying to pronounce that name and then say, did I get that right? And then let them correct you. And then when they correct you and give you the right one, thank them and remember it. Remember how to pronounce that name. Understanding service psychology will help people to feel valued. Can you jump into the chat and tell me some of the ways that you use service psychology? Let me go over, oh my gosh, people are like sharing book links and everything. I am going to, after this session, I'm going to save this chat and I'll forward it to Alex and Crystal, and they can disseminate it. I think it would be kind of a fun list of best practices for all of you to have just as a little value add there. So thank you, Melissa, for sharing that. So what are some ways that you understand and use service psychology? And that can be making people feel valued, personalizing the experience, connecting with them through the eyes. Tell me some of your best practices. While you do that, I'm going to tell you that one of the good ways to get out ahead of a good psychological relationship with people is to prepare them for the home buying and selling experience that they are going through. You know, in this market, I know lots of people in my personal acquaintance who have made offers on multiple properties, and someone has come in, especially in Arizona. You know what's happening in Arizona right now? All the Californians with all their big pocketbooks, they sell their 2-bedroom, you know, condo for $1.5 million, and they come over here, and our Arizonans are trying to buy a house for $400,000, and the Californians are like, we'll pay twice for it. Like, so I know tons of like Phoenicians right now who are not getting homes on their first, second, third attempt. They're not getting into the neighborhoods that they thought that they were going to get into. There's a lot of disappointment there. The ones who are still with their agents, though, are the agents who are like, look, let's be really honest about what's happening right now in the market. Here's what I'm committed to. I want to find you a great value. I want to find you a dream home. Here's what we're looking at in terms of multiple offers. I want to prep you for that so that you know nothing's going wrong with us or my efforts when we go through this. This is the way things are right now. And then when things start to get into turbulence and people are getting disappointed, they didn't get an offer through or whatever, then they are not looking at their agent like, maybe I should have gone with Remax, or maybe I need to find someone else to do this, right? You have set their psychology up to understand this is going to be a journey. We might be together for a little while on this. Okay, so I'm getting some great best practices. Let's see what we have. We were talking about how you use service psychology. Christina's saying, I always try to make eye contact and smile. Your comments about looking away are so true. That's how I feel when people avoid eye contact with me. Absolutely, Christina. And thank you for the vulnerability and in having empathy with my statements. Me too. Me too. It kind of low-key hurts my feelings when I try to like smile and look at someone and they're just like, you know what, I don't want to look at her because I might be asked to do something, or I don't know what she wants, or, you know, I'm really busy. You know, just give people that smile back. Linda says, I always smile. I don't even think about it. People always smile back. Start on a positive note. Absolutely. Chris Dunlap is saying, maintain open body language when listening. Yes, lean in when you're listening. Take notes, summarize. So what I've heard is, right, confirm that I got it right. And if I missed anything, focus on the person or people that I'm with. Avoid appearing distracted. Yes, so true. Modeling people's body language lets them know you're on the same page. So if someone's being kind of bright and assertive, you want to be kind of bright and assertive. If someone's expressing frustration and they're a little bit more like emotional, you don't want to be bright and assertive, right? You want to be like, I get it. I know we're going through a really frustrating. That was a tough one. It broke my heart as much as yours, right? So get on their tone and their body language level. Love that. Birdhouse is saying simplify your vocabulary. And I think that's true. Trying to be overly fancy or overly elaborate doesn't help. cut through the noise, be truthful. I love a lot of what I'm seeing. Mike is saying listening and reaffirming. Yes. Andrea is saying remembering people's special dates. I love that. Anniversaries, birthdays, making it a point of knowing with family members, learning about their lives, their dietary restrictions and allergies before sending them out gifts. It's the little fine details that go a long way. You're so right. Absolutely. Don't, send them the candy basket if they can't have sugar. Don't send them the pastry basket if they can't have gluten, or send them a gluten-free, pastry basket. 100%. That to them is just like, oh my gosh, we got something, and oh my gosh, I can actually eat it. They knew. That's amazing. We always get hospitality gifts, and I can never eat anything, right? Because people don't remember I have a gluten allergy, for example. Alpesh says, just be happy, and that warmth is going to transfer over your interactions. These are so, so good, team. I need to move on from this in the matter of time, but keep listing your best practices. These are wonderful. The next thing we do when we emotionally connect is we engage people's senses. So I want you to start to think of ways that you can engage all of the senses in your work. I know we have a special advantage at hotels because we can do a lot of scenography and food and, recreation activities and all of that. But I want you to think of ways, because there are lots of ways that within an office context at the brokerage branches and also in homes that we're selling or buying, we can engage people's senses. I want you to think there's cookies in the oven. I want you to think staging, right? I want you to think about the quality of your brochures, your website. How do you engage the senses of your clients? I'm going to tell you at the Ritz-Carlton that we know that adult psychology is such that the more senses you can engage, the more you're helping to create a memory and an emotional connection. Just think about that. Recently, one of the kids in my family, one of my nieces, had a doll, and it was a strawberry shortcake doll. And I don't know if any of you had this. This might sound really weird. I put the doll to my nose, and always strawberry shortcake dolls, like the hair smelled like strawberries. And I have to tell you, just this faint smell of strawberry shortcake doll head transported me back to when I was 6. I'm not kidding. Like, that is how powerful our olfactory senses are. And so when someone comes into a Ritz-Carlton lobby and there's candles burning, boom, transports them immediately. When they come into the Ritz-Carlton Denver and the Denver, the band, the Colorado band, the Lumineers are playing, they're like, oh my gosh, like a Colorado band is playing in the lobby. That's cool. It's personalized, right? When somebody goes to have a spa treatment and we say, would you like to add aromatherapy to your treatment? Let me have you smell some of the essential oils I could use for this. Here's jasmine, here's lavender, here's lemongrass, and they put that to their nose, right? When someone comes into a room and a bed has been made so beautifully and stretched tight, the first thing that most guests do in a room is they run their hand across the bed. The quality of the fabric, the quality of the towels, it says something, right? It engages their senses. So let me go and see some of the things that you do to engage senses. Melody said, I bring crayons and coloring books for kids to be entertained. Oh my gosh, I love that. Let's go back through some of these answers. Everybody has a sense of order. Appeal to theirs. I love it. Listening doesn't always mean hearing. That's right. Be engaged. Melody said, I bring coffee and treats to customers when we're viewing homes. That is so nice. And people are giving you like a thumbs up for these great ideas. Tell me some other ways. Brad says, I have toy cars for the kids to play with in the office. That's fantastic. I was working with a series of car dealerships recently, and one of them shared something really special. So when they were working with a family and the parents are there with a child, and the child needs kind of to be occupied while the parents are discussing with the sales agent the sale of this car, sometimes the sales agent will actually give the child some crayons or some markers and a piece of paper and say, can you draw your dream car for me on this piece of paper? So the transaction goes forward. The agent ends up, if possible, with that drawing of the car. And when that family closes on that car, they have frames in the back, they frame the picture of the dream car that the child drew and give it to them as kind of a present, like, you know, here's your dream car, you know, and you know, good luck in your new vehicle. So tons of wonderful things there in every business that we can do. People are saying dog treats for the furry family members. Oh, that's so good. I love that. Let me see what I have written down. Yes, I've heard of agents in homes putting on a fresh pot of coffee, having some cookies baking in an oven, having a candle burning. I've been to your website. Your website is great. Your marketing is great. I felt like all of the homes that were photographed in the right season, right? Have you ever seen marketing materials like, you know, when the season is wrong, right? There's snow on the ground, but like you're selling the home in summer, like that doesn't work, right? All of yours are up to date. You know, all of your offices there. I talked to Alex. I'm like, how are your offices? And he's like, well, we do have one honestly on radar that we're, you know, needing to renovate, but most of them are modern. They're professional. They're well kept. We have cleaning crews. So just engaging the senses of the employees. For those of you who work in those offices, making sure the coffee is not burned and smelly, wiping the countertops in the restrooms, you know, all of those things. You know, having a room scent if you want it. Melody said, easy when we stage homes so the buyer's senses are enticed. We have flowers, we have fluffy cushions, sometimes we have pies or cookies. All of these are fantastic. Let's see, LePage said, I used to give plastic fire helmets to kids throughout condo buildings when we did fire alarm inspections. That's so good. As we made a lot of noise, and yeah, and the potential was for people to get upset, but not if you come around and you're so engaging and you're giving the kids the fire helmets, right? People feel a part of it. So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. The last thing here that I want to focus on is the details. So I want you to think about how in your role, I want you to come up with a time recently when your detailed approach has kept you out of trouble or has eliminated a defect or has got you the sale. I want you to think of a time when your attention to detail recently has paid off for you. I want you to think of a time recently and share it with me in the chat there. It could be something like, for those of us who work administratively in the office, it could be like picking up on the fact that, you know, someone who's corresponding with us just got you know, a special certification because you see the extra initials emerge behind their name and you just write back to them and say, hey, I just wanted you to know I see the extra initials behind your name. Congratulations on your new distinction or certification, right? It could be that something was caught in sort of a home inspection of some kind, you know, and because you had attention to detail and you caught that detail, you prevented a calamity or confusion. I want you to start to think about how focusing on the details can create trust and emotional engagement. At the Ritz-Carlton, we really like to make a lot of small details. I remember a wonderful story from one of my properties once where a woman came up to the front desk to ask about her departure the next day, and she put a Starbucks cup up on the front desk while she was talking to the front desk agent. The front desk agent said, oh, are you a coffee lover? Clever. And the guest said, oh, it's not coffee, it's a green tea latte, or matcha green tea latte. That's what her favorite drink was. And she's like, oh, I haven't tried those. Are they good? Is it sweet? And the woman's like, no, I don't have mine sweetened. Clever. So the next day the woman was leaving. We had her vehicle pulled around at her departure time onto the front drive. And what do you think was in the vehicle? The front desk agent had gone to Starbucks knowing that the guest was leaving early and gotten her green tea matcha latte, and it was sitting in the cup holder inside the vehicle. In addition to that, the valets, as they brought her car around, noticed that her gas was low, and the valets had gone down the road knowing it was early in the morning, didn't want the guest to start out down the road and have to go immediately into a gas station, filled the guest tank and brought it back. So there was a little note on the dashboard that said, we loved having you. Hope you enjoy your matcha green tea latte on your drive. We also wanted to let you know we noticed that your gas was a little low, so we took the liberty of filling that up for you. That, my friends, is attention to detail. And I want you to think about how you picking up on a detail sometimes recently. We won't wait for that chat because we'll start to move on. But if you can think of an example of how you picked up on a detail recently that saved a situation, advanced a situation, or prevented a calamity. Yeah, Duncan is like, now that's Ritz-Carlton service. It's filling the gas tank. Yeah, that valet early in the morning could have just been like, oh, there's a gas station down the road. You know, I'm not going to go the distance. But that attention to detail, right? Do the tires have air in them? We check that all the time. You know, is there any garbage in the car? Could we leave like a little garbage bag and ask the guests when they're getting in, I left you a little bag there. Would you like me to clear any of those cups or any of that? The guests love it, right? We don't want to remove anything we didn't ask them about, but if they want us to, absolutely. Do you want me to program your map quest so that you know the directions to where you're going? You know, do you want me to print out a map? Do you want any recommendations for the next place that you're staying? We do all that stuff. So yeah, think ahead on the details. And with that team, what we've discovered is we defined engagement, we defined a place of delight, we recognize the purpose in our work, and now we have 5 different tactics based on Ritz-Carlton methodology that help us to emotionally engage. And we still have everybody on our call together. So I know that we are getting to about 15 minutes out from our original end time, but I want you to know I am going to extend the training with your blessing beyond that to offer another 20 minutes because it took us a while to come on board. So hopefully you're going to be able to stay with me for that extra 20. I would absolutely love that. So here's what I would say. At this point in the knowledge transfer, you might be like, okay, this is a lot though. Like, how do we remember to like streamline the experience and do defining moments and make people feel valued and pick up on the details and engage their senses? And Marie, well, a lot of you are doing all of this naturally. So let me just give you a shout out for that. A lot of you are already have good instincts for those things. We're just codifying it into a little bit of a methodology. But if you're lost for what to do to make something special, let me ask you to just put a +1 on a moment of service. What do I mean by that? What I mean by putting a +1 on service is in every single interaction, not 90% of them, in every single interaction with another human being, there is a way to take something up at least 1 notch. So I want you to think to yourself, what is one additional thing that I can do in this scenario that I haven't even been asked for that would lighten the load, that would make this person smile? What's one additional thing that I can do that can cut out a step? And if you literally can't even think of what that would be, at least ask that person, what else can I do to set you up for success? What else can I do for you today that would really make you smile? And just invite the answer. If you put a +1 on every moment of service, you are absolutely going to give people that above and beyond feeling all the time. Put a +1 on your service. All right. When you think about it, we do a lot of business. We're very busy. Is doing a +1 on every moment of service, is it feasible? Is it worth my time? Is it sustainable? Well, I just want to talk for a moment about discretionary effort. At the Ritz-Carlton, you can imagine to operate at a tier of luxury that we do all the time. It's not an easy lift. It's draining. You know, I've been in the business for 20 years. I can tell you it's draining. We work long shifts. We're on our feet a lot of the time. We're smiling and emoting all the time. We're doing active listening. We're coming up with creative resolutions. We're celebrating people's special anniversaries, helping people with parties, family reunions, wakes, with business events. It's draining. But if you want to be part of the best in the biz, it's about discretionary effort. Alex told me about one of your professionals who makes a commitment to be at every day of every open house. And that some of the other colleagues around this professional are like, that's not sustainable. It takes so much effort. There's so much going on. But what Alex's point is, hey, these houses are coming in multiples. They're selling pretty quickly. They're probably not going to be open for weeks and weeks trying to attract attention. They're going to go pretty quickly. If you show up on scene, you say hello to the neighbors, you're meeting the selling agents, the buying agents who are coming in with clients. You're showing your face. You're showing, I want to add value. That is going to get you referrals, not just from that nice partnership with other agents and not just from those people who are going to buy that home you're standing in, but those neighbors notice. And those neighbors are like, you know what? We saw him or her, you know, they show up and sell this home. They seem really committed. Give your card out around the neighborhood. You're going to drive that money back to the bottom line. And we're running a business. We want to make that money, so that discretionary effort, it takes it. Sorry, you got to put in the time if you're going to be one of the top tippity top. And, the more you show up, the more you add value, the more you're going to drive that revenue and line your pockets and live the life that you imagined. And, take your family on the vacations that they want to go on, put them in the schools that they want to go to, all that good stuff. All right, so I see that there's something that popped up in the chat. Let me just go over. Oh, I'm getting a couple of texts that say I always focus on the client's best interest. I'm very attentive to what's important for my clients. Yes, and then somebody else said I am there for every showing. Yeah, those are ways to focus on the details, show your discretionary effort, and add value. So let's stay on the theme of value. At the Ritz-Carlton, we really talk to our ladies and gentlemen all the time. That's what our workforce calls itself. A lot of you probably know that. They call themselves the ladies and gentlemen of the Ritz-Carlton. How do we, in every moment of service, optimize every interaction? And we've come up with a little bit of a methodology here. So I just want you to co-opt this. I'm going to go through and give you some quick examples of how we do these. Because when you walk away from a moment of service, you really want to feel like that was valuable, right? People are willing to pay the expense of coming to stay at a Ritz-Carlton because they feel like it's a valuable experience, right? So how do we do that? Well, number one, we have fast access to knowledge, but also wisdom. What do I mean by that? So let's stay on the scenario of like a housekeeper, right? I use a scenario like that because people sometimes, all the glory goes to the concierge and the recreation team and the frontline food and beverage servers and the guest relations people. But I want you to know that in every role, that security officer, that housekeeper, everybody is functioning at this level. So let's think about a housekeeper. What is their knowledge? Their knowledge base is the training, formal training that they've had to do their job functions. Right? So they've come to their housekeeping academy at the Ritz-Carlton. They know how to strip a bed. They know how to use all the chemicals that they're going to need to clean the tubs and sanitize the drapes. They know how to operate a vacuum. That's knowledge. They have to have that knowledge. They have to know how to strategize to clean 14 rooms about a day, right? Sometimes less, sometimes a little bit more. That's knowledge. But what is the wisdom of a housekeeper, right? The wisdom of a housekeeper is knowing that when they have a business traveler likes to keep things super simple. Not a lot of conversation. They often like a couple bottled waters in the room, their Wall Street Journal, and maybe they like in the room to have just the directions to the conference that they're going to be participating in the next day. That's it. So they have all those things for that person. Maybe, they come in and they know that business traveler is going to have like laptop cables and all of that kind of stuff. So they bring like a little twisty tie or a Ritz-Carlton ribbon, and they just gather up all those cables and they like knot them and they leave them there. And what it does is it relieves the clutter in a room like that. Maybe they know that they always have, like Mr. Smith comes in, he checks in on a Monday, he always checks out on a Thursday, and he likes his room cleaned at 9 a.m. every morning. That is wisdom. Wisdom comes from experience. It comes from adapting based on your experience. So at the Ritz-Carlton, every single person in every role knows what knowledge or formal training or learning they have, but they also are using their wisdom at all times to read the tea leaves, right? To kind of say, I know how this guest likes to operate. We have personas for our different guests, so we study those personas. How does a business traveler operate differently than a celebrating traveler who's here for a wedding? How does a celebrating traveler operate differently from a family who's here, right? How does a family operate differently from a honeymooning couple, right? So we have those personas and we use our knowledge and our wisdom to take care of them. The next thing is we want to have convenience and respect for people's time. So riffing on this theme for a moment, business travelers, they travel 100, 200, 300 days a year. They do not want to show up on the front drive and have a valet be like, first time in town, how are you doing? What are you going to do while you're here? And then they go to a front desk and the person's like, welcome, first time in town. Like, they're like, no, I want to do mobile check-in. I want to bypass the front desk and lobby, get into an elevator, know where my room is, and I want directions to the gym. That's all I want. So that's how we make sure that that flow is available to them. We have the tools, the technology, and the hospitality to get that done. Convenience and respect for time could be like a couple who's sitting in a restaurant and they're like, we don't want to be rushed. Okay, we're just going to like talk and take our time. And that way we pace down, even if it's a busy night, we put that thing in slow motion. We introduce them to whatever, the wine, the cocktails, we keep their glasses refilled, we get them an amuse-bouche, we get them, an appetizer, and we let them make eye contact with us when they say, okay, we're ready for the next action, right? So that's convenience and respect for time. So pacing up or pacing down based on what people want. The next thing is ease of doing business. When something doesn't go to plan at a Ritz-Carlton, much like the top of this call, and we either whiff the ball or we have a perception problem, we own it. We're like, I'm so sorry. This is on us. Let me own this experience. I want to be part of the solution, and we jump in to try and fix it. Same with like Starbucks. Have you ever had like they didn't make your order right at Starbucks? Are they like, oh, are you sure? Did you ask for the extra shot of espresso? Here, can you get back in line and go talk to, did they order an extra shot of it? They're like, no, of course they don't. They're just like, we're so sorry. Take the cup back. Let's pull the extra spread of, shot of espresso or make a fresh cup and put it right back up there. Boom. If you go to like a Nordstrom, does anyone shop at Nordstrom retail store? They don't like question you. You could bring back a pair of jeans or shoes 6 months in and be like, you know what? I've never been able to break these in. They're continuing to give me like marks on my foot when I wear them. They're just not like, well, are you sure that you didn't just like fall out of love with them? Because that wouldn't really be grounds for a return. Like, they're just like, okay, we're sorry it didn't work out. Can we help you into another pair of shoes? And they just, ease of doing business. So think about when you have moments of friction with your customers, whoever they are, how do you make problem resolution as easy as possible? Did you know this? Here's a statistic. 82% of consumers in North America say the number one factor in great customer service is having issues resolved quickly when they occur. 82%. That's 82 out of every 100 consumers would tell you, what do I like more than anything in my service professionals? That if things don't go to plan, they make it right with me quickly. That's a landslide. That's pretty amazing. The next thing I want to talk to you about is immediate impact wow stories. And we actually surfaced some of these a little bit earlier, some of those ways that you surprise and delight people. At the Ritz-Carlton, let me share one with you because everyone loves a good Ritz-Carlton yarn. There was a customer a guest who came, he flew in late one night. He had an interview at the Washington, D.C. property on a Monday morning. He came in really late, like 10 p.m. hour, 11 p.m. hour, something like that on Sunday night. He calls down in a panic to the front desk and he's like, I just realized I didn't bring business shoes in my overnight bag. So I have a suit for tomorrow, but I have like my Adidas. Like, is there any way that you have any like uniform shoes or anything that I can wear to this interview tomorrow? So the front desk agent, within 10 minutes, had a plan with the valet. One of the valets drove over to the only store that was available at that time of night, which was a 24-hour Walmart. They had the color of shoes the guest needed, the size of shoes the guest needed, drove over, got him a few options, brought them back. In the meantime, they had gone up, gotten the guest suit, steamed the suit and tie for the next day. The guest was able to pick the pair of shoes that he wanted and move forward with the interview. So that is engaged employees, engaging the hearts and minds of a customer by doing an immediate impact wow story, making it happen. And then how did we drive revenue out of that? Well, let me tell you, that customer, that guest of ours, he got that job the next day. He was in DC interviewing, he got the DC job. So he moved to DC. So he no longer needs to like stay at the Ritz-Carlton, right? Because he lives there in town now. But do you know that he, for years after, brought all of his business meetings over to the steakhouse at that Ritz-Carlton because he felt so valued by that team? That drove over time, what, thousands of dollars of revenue for us at that Ritz-Carlton because of that immediate impact wow story that created his loyalty. He even over time would bring some of his business meetings and rent our office space within the building. So that's how engagement, money. Yes. And then the last thing is one-of-a-kind experiences. I want you to be really keen and clever about any experiences that Royal LePage Meadowtowne Realty, that your brokerage, your affiliation offers to people that is different and better than, for example, RE/MAX. What are the one-of-a-kind experiences that people have by being your customer that they can't get anywhere else? At the Ritz-Carlton, believe me, we've got it down to a science. We know exactly what differentiates us from the Four Seasons or anybody else, right? And we make hay with that. We really reinforce that to our customers, not in a hard salesy way, but in subtle ways. We make sure that people know, and that is why we love that you're part of the Ritz-Carlton family. So that's a little value wheel, everybody, that you can use to add value in your interactions. So let's see here. Kai is asking me, are any of these things the Ritz-Carlton does charge back to the customer, the gas, the shoes, etc., or is it seen as an RC investment in a long-term relationship? Kai, great question, and it's the latter. We empower the ladies and gentlemen who work for us. You're not even going to believe this. Every lady and gentleman who works for our organization, and that's 40,000 people worldwide, is empowered to spend up to $2,000 to engage a guest, to re-engage a guest, to make a wow moment happen. Now, I've got to tell you something that's really interesting. Do you know how often people use $2,000? Never. Like literally, it's infinitesimal. I've heard of one or two times, like I know that there was a couple who forgot their daughter. They wanted to give her a birthday present, or no, a graduation present of a Tiffany bracelet, and they'd had it engraved. And they were fighting about it at the front desk as they checked in the Ritz-Carlton Boston. The front desk agent said, "What happened?" And they're like, "Well, he was supposed to bring our graduation present for our daughter. It's a Tiffany bracelet with like a heart. It's the silver. You know, we had it engraved from mom and dad, but it's sitting at home." Clever front desk agent had it replaced at the Boston Tiffany and delivered to the parents' room, and they gave it to their daughter the next day. They called ahead to the Tiffany in the originating city, and they said, "We'll take back the bracelet, you know, and don't worry, they'll just keep the heart that was engraved." So those kind of things are bigger wow stories, but most of the time wows are, we buy a pair of shoes, you know what I mean? Like we fill a tank of gas, we charge you know, a green tea matcha latte, and people are just like, ah. Okay, Tobin, what are you saying to me here? Tobin is saying, I think I lost my new iPhone and my iPad at a Ritz-Carlton. Tobin's like, I can turn this into like a major business line right here. I have an old Motorola flip phone for you. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, lost and found is a different deal. But anyway, yeah, I like that you're popping there, Tobin. All right, good questions. So here's what we can do. All right, we're still cooking with gas here. Is everyone okay? You're still with me? Let me check the numbers here. Okay, before we were at 166, we're now at 152, so it looks like a few people had to go. My commitment to you is that I am going to try and wrap this up within the next 10 minutes, all right? So hang with me. If you can, let's give it 10 minutes. I want to make up that time that I cost you at the front of this call. All right, and remember that you are going to have the transcript of the chat that can be socialized to everybody after this. So that's going to be in addition to the learning journals. That's going to be a supplement to this learning. All right, so anticipating customer needs throughout a journey. All I wanted to say on this slide is, at a Ritz-Carlton, we are very cognizant of each touch point that a customer will have with us through the process of their stay. So we know what happens pre-arrival. And that's our guest relations team reaching out to them saying, "We can't wait to have you at the Ritz-Carlton. what's your objective of your trip? What are you hoping to accomplish? What are you looking forward to that we can help make happen for you? Are you going to dine? We'll make the reservations. Are you going to spa? We'll make the reservations. Are you going to go around town? We'll make sure there are brochures in your room when you get here. So pre-arrival, we know how to elevate service. At the booking moment, we know how to elevate service. At the greeting moment, we know how to elevate service. During their experience, we know all of those touch points. Why am I telling you this? So that you, with your team, you might like to do a little, get out a poster board and draw together as a team, what is the journey that an agent has when they come to our brokerage, from the moment that they sign on with us through their first contract and beyond, and how are we delivering an exceptional level of service at this brokerage? Or if you're, an agent, if you're a salesperson, what is the journey that a buyer has? What is the journey that a seller has with me? And how am I elevating service at every touch point that I have? Once you do that, you can really customize and you can anticipate needs at those moments. It's easier than just flying moment to moment with them. You actually say, now we're in the pre-arrival phase, or in your terms, the pre-contract phase. Now we're in the contract phase. Now we're in the moving phase. And it will help you to level up your service in a discernible way at every touch point. Now, staying observant and staying in the moment with a customer is a great way to make magic happen. I have a little video. I'll take myself off screen while we watch this very short video. It's kind of a clever video about the monkey business illusion. In it, there's a little test of your powers of observation. So go ahead and watch this with me. Let me make sure that the sound is playing. It is. I'm going to take myself off screen just like that. And I'm going to play this video for you now.
The monkey business illusion. Count how many times the players wearing white pass the ball. The correct answer is 16 passes. Did you spot the gorilla? For people who haven't seen or heard about a video like this before, about half missed the gorilla. If you knew about the gorilla, you probably saw it. But did you notice the curtain changing color or the player on the black team leaving the game? Let's rewind and watch it again. Here comes the gorilla, and there goes a player, and the curtain is changing from red to gold. When you're looking for a gorilla, you often miss other unexpected events. And that's the monkey business illusion. Learn.
Okay, team. So let me bring myself back on camera here. So how many of you spotted the gorilla? Again, as he says, if you knew about this exercise and you knew about the gorilla, you probably saw it. Okay, Pinder's like, I got it. So good. Some of you might have got the gorilla, and then they take it the next level. They're like, if you saw the gorilla, did you see the curtain changing color? The whole point there is, sometimes we are so used to going through a process that we can lose the moment, right? We can make assumptions about how it's going to go, and what happens there is, if we don't stay observant to the whole field of vision, if we're not really cluing in on what a customer is saying, we miss an opportunity to anticipate needs, to surprise, to delight. So really trying to shake ourselves out of business as usual as much as possible and stay present, listening, taking notes, putting things in the CRM, personalizing. Those are the things that are going to help us to maximize the value of every interaction. Brad said, that's hilarious. Thought I was so smart to look for the gorilla. Good. And other people are saying, I also saw the gorilla, didn't see the curtain changing. Good. Thanks for your vulnerability on that. It's a good reminder. Sometimes we're so task oriented. I'm watching the people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A gorilla's walking through. The curtains are changing. We've missed part of the picture. So, all right, we're almost near the end here, team. I wanted to tell you about a great strategy that we have at the Ritz-Carlton. It is deceptively simple. It is so effective here, and it is called the Ritz-Carlton steps of service. And we keep it simple. We keep it to 3. The first step of Ritz-Carlton service, and I guarantee you, if you've ever been to a Ritz-Carlton and you have engaged with any staff member, they've been doing the 3 steps of service to you. You didn't even know it. Here's what they are. The first step of service is some sort of warm and sincere greeting using that customer, that client, that guest's name. And this is whether you work in one of the branches and this is your agent you're talking to, this is your leader you're talking to, this is the CEO, this is your colleague, this is your cube mate. A warm and sincere greeting using that person's name. Not just like, hey, do you have the thing with the thing, right? But like, good morning, Anne-Marie, how are you? I wanted to ask you, do you have 5 minutes, right? Warm and sincere using the name. The next thing is, after we've gotten through the greeting moment, the middle part of the interaction is anticipation and fulfillment of needs. So really trying to anticipate what's an additional thing that I can do to make this person's day, to make this a successful endeavor, and how do I fulfill that, right? So the whole middle section of an interaction is listening for opportunities to help, just like your brand promises. And then the end of every interaction is what we call a fond farewell. We give a warm goodbye, and we use our friend, pal, colleague, customer, client, buyer, seller, agent's name. So Anne-Marie, thank you so much for stopping by, the office today. It's been such a pleasure to see you. And then there are some other components of a fond farewell besides farewell. There's thanking the person for their business. There's soliciting feedback as you close an interaction. Welcoming people back for next time. All of those things can be part of a fond farewell. So in that respect, you've got these 3 glorious steps of service. It says that every interaction has a beginning, a middle, and an end. A warm and sincere greeting, anticipation and fulfillment, and a fond farewell. If you rinse and repeat that every single interaction that you have with the people around you, you will have an impact on them. It is why people come to a Ritz-Carlton and they're like, I can't put my finger on it, but every single person here just seems so thorough. They seem so consistent. They seem so articulate. What they don't know is that all of us are following the 3 steps of service protocol, and it's making our service feel specific. That means that someone could go to a Ritz-Carlton in San Francisco and then go to a Ritz-Carlton in Toronto and go to a Ritz-Carlton in Vienna, and it feels the same. It feels the same. The brand quality is the same because everybody is warm and sincere, using that name, anticipating needs, and thanking people for their business and wishing them a fond farewell. So if you don't have a written service strategy, you can just co-opt that one. You know what they say, amateurs borrow, professionals steal. So you just steal that 3 steps of service from us and use it on your team. Now, the very, very last thing that I wanted to accomplish here was just talking about delivering a legendary experience, taking everything that we know up to now and applying it. So we at the Ritz-Carlton know that there is a spectrum where it comes to creating surprise and delight. There is a wow story, just around every corner, but not all of them are massive viral stories like that Joshie the giraffe story that I told you about in the beginning. On that side of the spectrum, there are these massive stories, these legends, right? I mean, look at this photograph out here where we brought a couple out and, basically set them up for a romantic dinner on our infinity pool because they thought that that would be cool. That's a legendary wow. There are so many things that we do at the Ritz-Carlton that really are viral stories, and we encourage our people to take the time and effort. But that's not always possible. Either the opportunity doesn't present itself or business levels are such that we can't, you know, go work across teams and make the photo album and do all of that stuff. So we tell our ladies and gentlemen, there are also essential wows, and essential wows might not be something that are going to go viral, but they mean a lot to the person that was involved. So it could be, you know, you have a business guest, you know, who's come in from their business day. As they come into the hotel, you offer them a bottle of water and then just say, you know, we know you've had a long day. If you leave your shoes outside your door tonight, we'd be happy to polish those up for you. Do you need any suits steamed? That's an essential wow. It could be that someone calls in-room dining and with their, you know, they happen to mention, oh, could you send us up a pitcher of water as well? It's so hot and dry here in the Southwest. And when you send up their in-room dining and the pitcher of water, you also send up like, you know, some hydrating skin lotion, right? You send up a bottle of sunscreen. You send up, you know, a couple of caps for the family to wear when they go out that day, knowing that they're being responsive to the dryness in the Southwest. So those are essential wows. It could be that somebody's tube of toothpaste is almost out and a housekeeper notices that and then just puts a new tube of toothpaste in the bathroom. That's an essential wow. We find that those wows done with our clients, they go out and they share those on social media. So they might not go viral to the tune of the Joshy story, but people talk about them on, you know, their Instagram and their Facebook, you know, and their reviews under our, you know, on their TripAdvisor reviews, their Google reviews. So you are building your own legend all the time. So whether you have the ability to do a legendary or an essential wow, invest in your reputation that way. There is no wow story too small. So here we are. I saw the chat. Let me just see if anyone offered something in chat. Oh yeah, Amy was saying that when it's dry in a guest's room, wherever they're staying, if they comment on that, send a humidifier to their room. You're absolutely right. In fact, one of the properties at which I worked, Amy, was Ritz-Carlton Bachelor Gulch up in the mountains of Colorado. And you know how dry the air is when you're up over 10,000 feet. And that was something that we did commonly. If someone commented that they were feeling it was a little dry, we would send to their room extra bottled water. We'd even send some oxygen cans, and we would always send a humidifier, and that helped people to sleep and to relax. So 100% good thinking there. You're Ritz-Carlton certified. Okay, so here we are right where we started, team, in the last minute of this session. And you've been so contributory. You've shared so many wonderful ideas. I want to thank you so much. And thank you also for your grace toward me at the beginning when we got off to a bit of a rough start. We are going to remember going out of today that if you do something that is expected for one of your clients and you meet those high expectations, that's great, but it's not brand differentiating. It does not a memory make. If you do what's expected and then you additionally fulfill a couple extra special requests, that's great, but it's not a memory make. It's not brand differentiating service. But if you're able to use all of your superpowers now, knowing how to engage hearts and minds, knowing how to emotionally connect, knowing how to make people feel valued, driving from a sense of purpose and not function, adding value to each and every interaction, making sure that every interaction has a beginning, a middle, and an end that looks like a warm welcome, anticipation and fulfillment, and a fond farewell. You are going to emotionally surprise and emotionally delight your clients, your agents, whoever it is that you call customer. You are going to get an unexpected response from them. And that is what creates lifelong loyalty. That's what drives referrals. That's what drives value back to you personally and the brand. So we talked about emotional connection, engagement principles. We talked about adding value in every interaction. We talked about that 3-step service strategy. We talked about staying in the moment and the fact that delivering a legendary experience can be grand or it can be a quiet thing. And you have the opportunity every time. So all there's left to do is take action, everybody. Keep up the great work. I hope that you have found value today in our time together. I am in love with the people on this call. You have come up with some of the brightest ideas. You're funny, you're collegial. I want to thank you for sticking with it. And thank you, Alex, if you're out there. I don't know if you wanted to make any closing comments here. Oh, people are being so gracious in the chat. Alex, let me know if you're there.
I'm here. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you, Alex?
Good. Do you need a glass of water?
Yes, I have one here.
Oh, good. Thank you very much. We started off on the wrong foot, unfortunately, and we finished off fantastically. Emery, thank you very much. We're very, very happy with everything, and we can maybe connect offline later in the day, and that would be great. Thank you so much.
I look forward to that. You've been a true gentleman and a great partner in this. I love the way you speak with so much respect about the people that work with your brokerage, how proud you are of all of them, and that you're taking the time and money to invest in them this way. Thank you so much, Alex. And thanks to all of you, team. You're saying the most lovely things over here in the chat. Right back at you. Be a friend to the Ritz-Carlton. We're a friend to you. Love you, Canada. And I hope to see you again. All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gloria. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Crystal, for your help. All right. Love it. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a good day. All right. I'll take myself off camera now. Thanks, everybody. Bye.